Well, I want to show the world or the universe that there's more to women. We can be interested in anything. We can be interested in any career paths, any kind of sport, anything we want to do, and still be beautiful.
On this heartfelt episode of Pushing Your Peace podcast, I sat down with the newly crowned Miss Universe Turks and Caicos, Raynae Myers. Renee, hailing from Grand Turk, shares her remarkable journey into pageantry, her advocacy work against gun violence and bullying, and the heartbreaking loss of her brother to gun violence. During our conversation, Renee opened up about the peace that has been pivotal to her life, perseverance, and prayer, and how they have guided her through some of the most challenging adversities. We also explore her vision for the future and her preparation for the up-and-coming Miss Universe competition in Mexico. This episode is filled with resilience, strength, and inspiration that you don't want to miss. So sit back, relax, and let's get ready to push some peace. And pageantry is a P. So we're pushing pageantry all throughout this episode with Renee Myers. It's a pleasure to have you on Pushing Your Peace podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, this is 2024 Miss Universe Turks and Caicos, Raynae Myers. Thank you so much for being on the show. Now, Renee, let's talk about pageantry. But as we talk about pageantry, we're going to talk about the P purpose, right? How did you first get into pageantry? Where did that journey start with you?
Well, initially it was because growing up, I would always hear my mother's stories. She's a former beauty queen who has been in 13 beauty pageants. So throughout my whole childhood, there was always a pageant story. And I knew that that was something that I wanted to do. So when I was 14 years old, I entered my first beauty pageant. And I remember someone said to me, they said, "You're pretty and you're smart, but you're not going to win this pageant because you don't have a pretty smile." And that is where it all started, because I was like, okay, I'm going to prove them wrong. And I'm just going to do all I can, work hard, and do well in this pageant because I have to win. I want to show people something different. I want to show them that their flaws don't define them. And from that day, from that moment, when I was 14 years old, pageantry was kind of on a pause in the Turks and Caicos. But when Summer Jam came back around, I was in the next pageant. And then came Miss Turks and Caicos Universe, and we're here.
You know, on the lines of purpose, what is fueling your drive to continue? Because this is your third time being in a pageant. You've lost one. So what is fueling your desire to continue to enter into these pageants? Now I know earlier you mentioned, being told you didn't have this beautiful smile and that was a motivating factor. But what is fueling you now?
Well, the goal for me is still the same. I'm still fueled by that desire to prove that women in pageantry are more than just pretty faces, that they are more than just beautiful. I believe that we kind of try to hold young women, to this standard that they have to look a certain way. We measure them up to this traditional way a beauty queen is supposed to look. She's supposed to have flawless skin, the perfect smile. She's supposed to be a size 2, a size 0. But I want to show young women that, listen, you can accomplish your dreams once you're passionate about something. You can do that no matter what anyone say. Don't let society tell you because you look a certain way, because you might have a flaw, a speech impediment, or something like that, that you can't accomplish your goals. And then also, as I got older, I was more into debating. I was a youth parliamentarian, focusing more on academics, an aspiring lawyer and politician. People started telling me, okay, why are you interested in pageantry? That you're above that. Like, someone literally said that to me. They say you shouldn't be focusing on things like that. And I'm like, what is that supposed to mean? And it's because of this misconception that, okay, a beauty queen, just looks pretty, She smiles and that's it. There's nothing else to her. Well, I want to show the world or the universe that there's more to women. We can be interested in anything. We can be interested in any career paths, any kind of sport, anything we want to do, and still be beauty queens.
Now you have two-in-one racket in pageantry, right? And I want you to talk about that loss. Walk us through that experience. Now I watched that. I watched the whole thing that night, but I want you to walk me through that and tell me some of the lessons you learned coming out of that pageant.
Well, honestly and truly, I would say that loss, it hurt more than anything or more than I probably should have allowed it. But at first, it was a tribute to my brother because of his passing due to gun violence. So when I lost, it almost felt as if I failed, that I failed to get my message across. And I was somewhat longing for a platform because I know that, I have this voice and there's so much more I want to say. And I felt that that was going to give me the opportunity. And I remember just praying to God about it like 2 days later. And I'm telling him, because I talk to God like my bestie, and I'm telling him, why did you allow me to enter this pageant if I wasn't going to win? Like, what was the point? And I later realized that it wasn't the perfect timing. It wasn't meant for me. There were still things within myself that I had to develop for even bigger opportunities. I like to define that season of my life as my character defining season. I now know how to respond to things and respond to situations better, how to handle criticism even better, and just how to persevere and move forward despite, the setbacks. Because sometimes in life, these setbacks be a setup for a major comeback. So
Right.
that was my character defining season. It has made me a better person, a better young woman, and it has well equipped me with those emotional skills that I need to continue on my journey.
Amazing. What was all right? We're gonna talk about because you mentioned something, and I think it's important that we do touch on this: the passing of your brother and gun violence. I know pageantry tends to be about an empowerment of women, right? But you now have this platform. Um, how do you plan to use that to raise awareness about gun violence now? I know that, again, the platform is kind of geared towards women empowerment, but this is something that you've experienced and you want to pay tribute to him. So how do you plan on using your platform to honor your brother now? A much bigger platform, by the way.
Yes. Yes, exactly. With this being a much bigger platform, I believe that it will bring more attention to this pressing issue within our community. Of course, there's more to my country than this, and I know some persons are like, maybe you shouldn't highlight that, but I believe that this would give me a better opportunities. It will get me into doors, into rooms where I can advocate for policies, where I can just find different ways that we can help our young men, where we can possibly find the root of this problem, because this hasn't always been a problem in the Turks and Caicos Islands. Growing up here and living here my whole life, I know for a fact that gun violence was never a problem here. We barely heard about it. And I know that we can eventually get back there. We just have to bring awareness to the issue, ensure that we are equipping our young men with the tools that they need, and just be more problem solving oriented. And also, I feel that there are so many dreams and goals that are lost by not only my brother, but other young men who lost their lives. So I just hope that through sharing certain things that he would have wanted to achieve and bring awareness to this, I can somehow leave an impact.
Now, Renee, you have a platform that empowers young ladies. Um, let's talk about that now. How do you plan on using this large platform to raise awareness about pageantry? Bear in mind, pageantry was on a 10 years hiatus. I mean, the Miss Universe TCI pageant. 10 years. We don't want to wait another 10 years. I mean, we don't mind having you for 10 years. Don't get me wrong. But, but how do you plan on keeping that fire going now? Because this year, it was fantastic. It looked great. It looked up to standard. It was great watching you guys, and I think we want to continue to build on that. So how do you plan on using your platform to motivate young people and also keep the fire going?
Well, firstly, it goes hand in hand with, my purpose for going into these pageants. I believe that when young women see me, when they see me defying the odds, not letting these typical stereotypes stop me from entering pageant, I believe that more young women would be inclined to enter pageants. I remember I did a speaking engagement way before I won the pageant, and this young girl, she wore braces as well. She's an athlete, and she told me, she said, she thought about pageants, but people told her she was too tomboyish. So I'm hoping that when they see me and they see me up there doing my thing and being myself, my true authentic self, that they are encouraged to participate. And I have a lot of plans in store for my reign as Miss Universe Turks and Caicos. And I hope that by accomplishing these goals and basically showing the more serious side, I should say, of pageantry, that persons are more inclined to support, to sponsor, and to just ensure that, listen, our event last year was good. She did amazing during her reign. Now we have to support her and ensure that the next pageant is even better. I don't plan to let my reign die down after Miss Universe. I want to keep it going. I want to keep doing things. I want to keep people talking about it. And I do plan to go to Miss Universe and do amazing things, possibly come back with the crown. So I'm hoping that that continues to carry the hype for the Miss Universe Turks and Caicos pageant.
How's that preparation going right now? Like how what is, I know it's another level. So are you doing things differently now with the Turks and Caicos pageant that you did heading into Miss Universe? How is that preparation going?
Yes, one thing I realized from the Miss Universe Turks and Caicos pageant, I was fully aware of the things I needed to work on or that I needed to perfect. So I'm working on that. I'm also getting training to perfect certain skills. I don't want to say too much, but yes, I am preparing. Turks and Caicos is back after 10 years. I can't go to Miss Universe and not do amazing, not do wonderful. So I am preparing, and I just want to do well. I want to represent my country well. I want to represent it very well. So I'm doing all that I can just to ensure that when Turks and Caicos step on that stage, it's amazing, that no stones left unturned. But yeah,
Well,
great things are in store. Like I said, I don't want to say too much, so stay tuned. I promise I am not going to let us down.
nah, we believe in you. I mean, it's been 10 years. Trust me, we waited.
Yeah.
We can't wait to chill. But, I want to talk about the end goal now. The end goal of all of this, Renee. I mean, what's your end goal? What's your ultimate purpose through doing? I mean, I know you talked about your brother, you talk about the early challenges, experiences, and all these other things, but what's your end goal with all of this?
Okay, with everything I'm doing, I would say that my end goal overall is one, to like make a difference. And then when it comes to young women in my community, especially, I want to leave a legacy of empowered and inspiring young women who aren't afraid to do anything, and who are willing to just step out of their comfort zones and be their most or true authentic self. I look at pageantry specifically as kind of my passion and my purpose aligning, because pageantry is something that I'm truly passionate about. And I believe that my purpose here is to inspire young women to be a voice for change. So when the two of them come together, it's like a spark.
Lovely. Now, I want to push another P, and this is going to be the last piece P I push because I want to hear what P's you want to push on the show. Partnerships. Which partnerships have shaped your journey into pageantry?
I view partnerships differently, but when I think about partnerships that have shaped my journey into pageantry, I can only think about the people that I am around and those persons like in my circle who kind of mentally prepared me for pageantry in a sense. Is that what you're looking for?
You can name, if you don't want to name drop, that's fine.
Okay, okay. But yes, when it comes to partnerships, I would just say that it's those persons in my circle that has shaped me into the person I am. Because the thing is, those around us actually influence us, and they influence certain character traits about us. They influence how we do certain things, and they're there to give us feedback and whatnot. And with my pageant journey, I couldn't do it on my own. I mentally couldn't. I needed someone there to encourage me, to support me along the way. And then I physically couldn't do it on my own. Like, even with my mother, I needed her there to tell me, okay, this is how this goes. You don't do that like that. She's my hairstylist, my makeup artist, my manager, my personal coach, and my everything. So she has shaped a lot of my journey. Yeah.
I mean, you basically had an unfair advantage when I think about it, because your mom, your mom can be considered an expert because she's been in 13 pageants, so she has this thing down to a T. So I mean, that's amazing, Renee. I mean, credit to your team and everybody around you. Um, I can't wait to see what you do on the international stage. Um, all the best, man. We looking for you to bring back the crown. I know you're gonna be humble and modest, and I respect that. But I'm gonna be a patriotic Turks Caicos Island and say we want that crowd to come to Turks, right? So we will be cheering for you. And now we're gonna transition into the second half of the show where you push your P or P's. It's up to you. I don't know which words you're gonna bring, but you now have the floor to talk about any words that begins with the letter P that has helped you along your journey.
Well, I would say the first P I'm pushing is perseverance because this journey, whether it be pageantry, whether it just be in life on a whole, has not been easy. From a very young age, I realized that, sometimes you're going to have setbacks, you're going to have obstacles, and just things in your way. And if I'm being honest with you, when I was growing up, when you're young, your parents kind of doing everything for you, and it's almost like, nothing ever goes wrong. I need this, I want to do this, it just happens. And I remember when I was about maybe 18, 19 years old was when I got my first reality shock. And I'm like, oh wow, things actually happen. And then just with my pageantry journey, sometimes I tell myself, are you sure you want to do this? Because the preparation leading up to the pageant, you have the mental things that are affecting you. And then, like for Miss Turks and Caicos, a lot of people don't know, but my dress, I had a wardrobe malfunction on the night of the pageant. So it was just a lot of different things, and I had to constantly remind myself to persevere, to keep going, to push forward despite the odds. Like, we are here to defy the odds. These things are going to happen. The obstacle is going to be there. You just have to find the way around it and keep going. And one thing I like to tell myself too is that when a lot of different things are happening, or when I feel like the odds are stacked against me, I'm like, okay, the reward is going to be even sweeter. When you put in hard work and dedication and you keep going, and then you finally get that victory, it's like, okay, now I see, it's like a reward at the end. This is what I wanted. So that's my first P, perseverance. Keep pushing forward because things in life are going to happen. You just got to keep going. You can't let that roadblock stop you. Your next way is like, okay, can I go over it? Can I go under it? Can I go around it? But you just have to keep going. And the next P I'm going to push is prayer because I have a strong faith in God. Like I said, I don't know if this is bad to say, but that is my bestie. I talk to God about any and everything. And being a quiet person, I don't have a lot of friends or people around me, so I go to God. I can say that, shamelessly say that, like I go to God, and I'm always praying to Him. I'm praying for things like discernment. I'm praying that He gives me the courage that I need, because if you're like me and you always want to be doing different things, you always want to be starting this, speaking on this, you have to go to God first. Because this confidence that I have now, this courage that I have now, it is not of me. It is of Him. I didn't have it without first going to God and asking Him to give it to me. And sometimes when you're stepping out there and you're saying certain things, for me, I have to pray about it. I'm like, okay, God, give me the words. Make sure I'm saying this as well as I possibly can. I'm not saying anything I shouldn't say or how I shouldn't say it. But yeah, it's just prayer. And again, if you go back to the Miss Turks and Caicos pageant, the prayer I said before I went on stage for the crowning was probably the longest prayer I've said in my life. And I'm like, yes, God, okay, we reach here. I know the work that I've put in. I know the plans that I have. I feel deserving of this. And I'm just telling all of this to God. Like, I strongly believe in Him. And I know that through prayer, I can do anything, and He'll give me the courage and the strength that I need to keep going and to persevere and to push forward and keep pushing my peas. So,
Boom. Love it. Renee, you said something. And I want you to take my audience now through those final moments leading up to your win. You and Miss Grant hand locked. What's going through your head at that time right now while you're on the stage?
honestly, I knew that it could have gone anyway because, all of my fellow pageant sisters, they were good contenders. Any one of us could have taken the title. Holding hands with Miss Grant, I'm like, okay, it's me or her. It can go anyway. I'm not sure. But I'm just praying, and I'm like, is it me? I don't know. And honestly, I was just waiting and waiting. And then when they called my name for Miss Universe Turks and Caicos, I couldn't believe it. And it was that moment that I talked about, in the end, when you finally win after facing obstacle after obstacle. I was crying backstage because I couldn't get my original pageant dress to work. It was just not working. I remember the third contestant was on stage and I still can't get my dress to work. So, but yeah, and it was in that moment. And everyone saw it. I just was bawling. I was crying so much because I couldn't believe it. But at the same time, it was like, okay, Renee, your hard work paid off. This is the moment you've been waiting for. It's here. You prayed for this, you worked for this, and you've got it.
First of all, I didn't know you all had backup dresses. So I'm learning something right now. But Renee, thank you so much for sharing that with us. And again, we wish you the best. And I have a few more questions for you before you leave. Right? There's this young Raynae Myers, 12 years old. What would be your advice to her, based on everything you've gone through thus far?
Well, my advice to, I guess you could say, the younger Renee, little Renee, would be just keep going. And it might seem so simple, but I believe that there are different things that we face in life, and it makes you want to stop. It makes you want to keep quiet. But had I not kept going, I wouldn't have been where I am today. And that's in every aspect of my life. That's in wanting to be a public speaker and speaking. That's in pageantry. That's in everything because I've heard a lot of no's. And had I let that stop me, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be the person I am. So I think it's very important to just keep going. And
Thank you,
because I
Renee.
know how the future, sorry, I know how the future looks for her now. So I think she would want to keep going.
Thanks for sharing that. Now, spin-off question. I usually ask my guests top a question that's completely off topic. Are you ready?
I think so.
All right. Don't worry. This one is pretty easy. If you can charge $100,000 for a service that you offer, what service would that be? $100,000.
$100,000.
Only Renee can offer this service.
I would say if it had to be a service, I don't know. I want to say advice because I think the advice that I give is worth $100,000. Even though I sometimes be giving it for free. But that valuable advice, those gems, sharing my experience, I think that would be the service.
So consultancy in a sense. I
Yes.
see that in the future. You got a team around you. You got fitness people around you. You got pageant experts. You got a whole firm you sitting on. So I
Really
see that
amazing
coming.
team.
I see that coming for you. Well, Renee, thank you so much for coming on the show. Do you have any final words before we close out?
Well, I just want to say to you, Leo, thank you so much for having me on this show. It has been an honor, and I'm so thankful for just being able to share my journey and give a few more insights into my pageant experience and preparation. And to all of your listeners, especially the young girls out there, your flaws don't define you. Don't let anyone or anything stop you from accomplishing your goals. Just know that once you are being true to yourself, you can do anything. You can accomplish anything. Just how I did it, you can too. So that's all.
Ladies and gentlemen, Raynae Myers, Miss Turks and Caicos, Miss Universe Turks and Caicos 2024. Thank you so much for being on Pushing Your Piece, and I'll see you guys next week.